What's up, everybody? I'm Justin Maytat here with my sister, Melissa Matak,
Hey, everybody.
and we are Room 51, where we talk all things board gaming. Today, we're doing a 5 for 5. This is a segment where we draw a random topic, and then we have 5 minutes to make a top 5 list out of that random topic. It's been a bit since we did this. We're super pumped. All right, so Melissa, will you do the honors?
Yeah, so here we go. Okay, I've got the paper in hand. We're doing a top 5 sci-fi games. This is one of the
Top
easier
5.
ones, I guess,
Wow, yeah.
that we've done.
Okay.
You got the
So
timer?
the timer is starting, and go, 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 go.
Okay.
This is
Um,
definitely a lighter one to kind of jump back into, I think.
I already know my numero uno. Oh, shiz. No, wait. That is not my number one. I can't wait to fight you on what a sci-fi game is.
I don't think any of mine are gonna be all that questionable. I was able to write 4 without even looking through BG.
We
This
don't
one
have
actually
any
took a hit.
Star Wars games, which
I
is
know, isn't that
nuts.
sad?
There's so many of them, and we don't have any of them.
Single one, a single one.
I want.
That one was a little tricky because I think we both love sci-fi, and we need more sci-fi games in our library, I think.
We have a fairly good amount,
We
but
definitely do.
yeah,
Time, by the way. Yeah, we definitely do have a fairly good amount, but I would like more.
I feel you.
For how much we both love them too. You know what I mean?
So specifically, and just to go off for my list, and you'll notice it in my list, I'm huge on space themed games. Not,
Same.
yeah, not necessarily like sci-fi. I mean, yes, it's part of sci-fi, but specifically that subgenre.
Yeah. And one game that was interesting, I wrote down and it didn't hit my list because it's definitely is a sci-fi game. But if somebody was like, I want a sci-fi game, I wouldn't I would mention this game maybe because I think it's a good game, but I wouldn't recommend it for sci-fi, which is Time Stories. Uh,
Mm.
Time Stories is this futuristic sci-fi game, but it sets you back in the past and some whole mystery thing, whatnot. I wouldn't say, oh, if you're looking for a sci-fi game, get Time Stories. It's like, no,
I
I don't
got
think that
you.
really made sense.
I got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's my number 5. I wouldn't necessarily think of it off the top of my head when you say sci-fi, but it wound up going onto my list. One also
Mine
that I
too.
really do want, it's a Euro game that also has to deal with time, is Anachrony. I really want that one. I haven't tried it, but it seems like it would be up my alley.
All right.
Um, but yeah.
Very
Anyways,
cool.
here we go. So rock paper scissors to see who goes first.
Let's do it. Ready?
Rock
Rock, paper,
paper scissors
scissors,
says
says
shoot.
shoot.
Dang.
Rock, paper,
Paper, scissors,
scissors,
says
says shoot.
shoot. Where are you at?
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
It was scissors. All right, so you choose.
All right. You could go first.
All right, so my list is 4 out of 5 are space. uh,
Same actually.
and it goes in order of how much I like the game currently, which is subject to change. Um, my number 5. Oh yeah, what's up?
I was just gonna say how I ranked mine. I ranked it in terms of how much I like it in regards to this category. Like it's a mixture of how much I like the game and also like how sci-fi, like when you say sci-fi, like yes, there's a lot of sci-fi elements in
Are
here.
you really feeling that sci-fi
Yeah,
theme
yeah,
in
yeah.
it? That's fair. I actually think that mine kind of follows that track a little bit. I will warn you though, my 5 is like Melissa's. It does not. This is not a game I would immediately think of as sci-fi. But as I was thinking about, if somebody asked me to recommend them 5 sci-fi games, this might hit it for me. And my number 5 is Scythe.
Okay, that crossed my mind.
Yeah, Scythe, I would never categorize as a sci-fi game, but the mechs in it, which are a big part, it's kind of more of like I don't know, dystopian, but this like alternative history kind of thing. And the mechs involved are sci-fi. And the way the game works, I think is it's up that alley for sci-fi fans. as well. So it's one that I would recommend. If you watched our top 51 games, you know that I love this game. So this is one that's going to hit a lot of my list. It's a really fun game, and I think that there's enough in it for me to say this isn't necessarily a sci-fi game, but I would recommend it to you if you're looking for sci-fi games because there's a slight sci-fi element, and I think if you like sci-fi, it's up your alley.
Cool. I respect that pick. I did think of it, but I was like, not sci-fi enough for me or something. I don't know.
Definitely fair.
My number 5 is also sort of like I wouldn't have thought this immediately, but it did hit my list at number 5. Um, and it's Dinosaur Island. Yeah,
Okay, that's a
because
good one.
I was thinking about like, just tamper wait, what is tampering?
Tampering,
Yeah,
tampering.
tampering with the DNA and everything to make dinosaurs into your dinosaur amusement park. It's pretty I would say the movies are pretty sci-fi. Uh I feel like dinosaurs is a weird thing, right? Where it's like part of science, but then it's also part of really history. But then like
Yeah.
when you have like this dinosaur island sort of thing, it becomes more sci-fi-ish, right? Like um anyway, that's my pick. I love this game. It's got worker placement in it. I love when you feel like you've built something. I feel like I've built this amusement park. I love the theme surrounding it. So that is my number 5, Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, for me, I would consider it like tangent to sci-fi, which
Mhm.
I think is good enough. I would have found it odd if you put it at your number one spot, but your
Okay.
number five, I think that totally works.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
like it.
absolutely, positively a sci-fi game.
It's a fun game. It's a fun game. All right, awesome. So for me, from here on out, I would find it odd to argue that any of these games now
Yeah,
aren't sci-fi.
for sure. For me
Um,
too. I think I'm up actually.
oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah, from here on up, it's all space games. uh, well, one of them is anyway. So my number 4 is a game that's recently entered our collection, not too long ago, and I love this game. This game, I know either people hate it or they love it. I don't think there's really any in between with this game because it is so crazy, and it is Galaxy Trucker.
Okay.
This
Very nice.
one, you are building your own ship and you are watching it get blown up, and I love it. It is fantastic. It's fun. It's in real time because you're building your ship in real time. You're trying to get these parts. It's like you're at a junkyard just trying to get these parts to build your truck that you're going to send off into space and then try to deliver cargo. And you're pretty much just trying to get a whole bunch of money if you can. But the game states that if you even make it with one space buck, you're a winner. So that is my number 4, Galaxy Trucker.
That's actually a really cool pick. I expected this to be higher on your list.
There's some really great games.
Yeah, sorry, I paused for a second as I heard noise outside. Yeah,
Your
no,
door's
absolutely.
open.
There's a lot of great games. Yeah, I don't know. I just know how much you love this game. I love it as well. So I expected it to be higher. When you first started talking, though, I thought me and you had to cross over on number four.
Okay.
Uh, because for me, number four is a game that's also a bit more recent to our collection. We both love it, and I'm curious if this is going to hit your list or not. It is Race for the Galaxy, which is right behind me over here. This cool box. Uh, yeah, so Race for the Galaxy is this really cool tableau builder, and it's completely space themed. I guess the reality is, though, the mechanics don't fully flesh out the theme of it. It very much comes through in the artwork, but at the end of the day, that artwork and the rulebook and everything, I still feel like, yeah, I'm playing a space theme game. And it comes through for me. And I love it. I think it's a super fun game. But I think if you're looking for something that really you're feeling like you're in space and you're really trying to feel the sci-fi theme in the mechanics and everything, this one doesn't hit it as much, which is also why it kind of hits my number four. But it's a super fun game. It's space themed. It's sci-fi. I love it. So that's my number four, Race for the Galaxy.
That one hit my honorable mentions, but for the reasons you stated, where like the theme doesn't quite come through with the mechanics, it stayed off the list for me.
Yeah, definitely respect that.
All
All
right,
right.
number 3.
Number 3 is one that if it doesn't hit Melissa's list, I will be really shocked.
Okay, here we go.
It's one of her favorite games of all time. It does hit my top 51 games of all time. I really liked it. It's one of our earlier games in the collection, Battlestar Galactica. Uh, this is one that I think you definitely feel like you're in space on a ship, Battlestar Galactica, and you're trying to make these jumps from faster than light. You're running from the Cylons and everything, and you're having to deal with all that. You have to deal with traitors in your midst. But I think what's really cool is so it doesn't just feel like, man, it really nails that theme of Battlestar Galactica, which is awesome. But it really nails the space theme, worrying about these different sci-fi elements of having to make jumps that'll get you faster than light to go to the next uh, planet and system and everything. And then you have all these other things to manage, like morale and whatnot, and the traders in your midst. I think the game is a ton of fun. Like I said, if it doesn't hit Melissa's list, I will be shocked. So yeah, it's a great game. My number 3, Battlestar Galactica.
So my number 3 is a direct crossover, Battlestar Galactica.
Wow.
Yeah, for pretty much all the reasons Justin stated. I love the show. I love what this game brings out. It just oozes with theme. I love it, and I won't go too much into it. It lasts maybe a little bit longer than it should sometimes, but it's always exciting to play. I love playing this game. So, Battlestar Galactica, my number 3.
All right, cool.
Number 2 is I love this game so much. I spoke about it on my top 10 list, um, or actually in our top 51 list, it hit my top 10, whatever. But it is a sandbox space driven game, and it is Xia Legends of a Drift System. This is another one that people might not really like because there's randomness involved. It definitely plays kind of like an RPG style game in a way because there's a bunch of dice rolling. But especially with the expansion, there's a lot of ways to mitigate that, which I appreciate. And really, I don't think it's a game that you could take all that seriously. Yes, it's a little long. I probably wouldn't play it with more than 3 players. Um, that being said, I still love it. I feel like I get to live out my space captain dreams and just I feel like a kid again when playing this game every time where I feel like I'm playing with these little spaceships. They come pre-painted, which is cool, and I'm just like going off on like missions and doing whatever I want, which is very cool. So my number 2 is Xia Legends of a Drift System.
Yeah, I was wondering where that one was to hit your list. I wasn't sure if it was to be the number 1 or the number 2 spot. So that
Lots of
made sense.
cross-ups, lots of I kept
Crossovers.
switching it around.
Oh, cross-offs. Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. This one was this was an easier list for me to rank them. Once I had all the options written down, I was like, this is it, and I felt good about it. I was like, yep, I like that.
Yeah, I was freaking out trying to figure out the ranking.
Fair enough. All right, so my number 2 is a crossover with Melissa. It is Galaxy Trucker. All the reasons Melissa said, it's a fantastic game. It's
Wow, I'm surprised it's this high.
I really like Galaxy Trucker, and
Yeah.
I also really like it for the space theme. Like, so for that thought of if somebody asked me to recommend 5 sci-fi games, this would probably be my number 2 game that I'm recommending them. Uh, the theming really comes through. It's the super cool, kooky game, and like Melissa said, you either love it or you hate it, and that I think that's totally fair. Because your ship is gonna get blown up, and that's a ton of fun. So yeah, I absolutely love this game. That's my number 2, Galaxy Trucker.
All right. On to our number 1, which I think is going to be a direct other crossover.
Yeah, I would be really shocked if it's not. So number 1 game is Twilight Imperium 4th Edition. Uh, both of us have spoken about this game a lot on the channel for sure.
Yes.
It fulfills fantasies. That's how I described it in the top 51 list. This game has fulfilled fantasies on what board games can do. it's just so much fun feeling like you're actually the leader of this faction and going around in the space system and having wanting maybe to gain control of Metatol Rets to have different influence and the different planets giving you influence during that agenda phase. That agenda phase makes the game. Having this whole political debate with everybody there on what to do with the agenda and then using your influence to decide what happens. The game is a ton of fun. There's a whole science tree with it and everything. The game is a ton of fun. So yeah, that's my number one, Twilight Imperium 4th edition.
My number one is also TI4. Now, technically, I do like Xayah better than TI4, but I put it number one on this list because of that tech tree and because of getting to play as different races with their own special abilities. It really brings out that sci-fi nature that even more so than Xayah in a way. Because Xayah is more about the adventure, right, of space, which is very cool and I love it. And I still think it's got sci-fi written all over it. But TI4, it's that tech tree, man, that really brought it to my number one on this list, where you really feel like, yeah, we are warring nations. It feels like I'm watching a movie, or like not just watching. I am part of this movie that is unfolding,
Yes.
and the story that's unfolding in a very sci-fi movie, right? Um, through and through. And this game brings out theme like no other. So that's my number one, Twilight Imperium 4th edition.
Awesome.
All right, well, this has been another 5 for 5. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at This Is Room 51. Let us know what are your top 5 sci fi games. We would love to know. You've been watching Room 51.